they'll be looking for is a little bit different from normal. Not too different in that, you know, all the items that the tower spawns will be the same, and this is a seeded run, so they will be the same across both towers. But while the coins don't add much, they add something, and so might have some worth. Weapons and shields usually have a pretty okay price tag. Items like scrolls often do not have are not worth a lot of money, even if they are mostly very useful. The other thing they'll be probably looking for is if there's anything that can be useful for when they do the final climb of this run, which will take them to floor 28. And I think John in particular is probably preparing to stock up as much as he can for that, because the glitched entry does mean that, like, he can bring more than 5 items in when that run comes. That's one of the benefits aside from not listening to Kuhn talk. Leather shield, good for climbing the tower very fast. Not so much for this particular type of run, I would say. Hey. But also, it's not worth a lot of money, which is sad. It is true. Not listening to Kuhn talk is a tremendous benefit. So. Oh, it's worth asking, why is this the minigame story? Why is this the joke line of dialogue that is subject to a showcase? Why is this a category? And I think the answer here is that it's a good, let's call it a good little vertical cake slice of the gameplay of, say, a bookless run. Which is like 100%, except not. Or at least, it's not a literal 100%, it's all the stuff that's worth doing %. Which means not filling out the monster book. In that run, you collect all the money to do all the upgrades, you'd deal with every girl's storyline, you'd clear the tower. But if you want something smaller than that, if you want just, and you know, in some ways you will be playing the game as the developers intended, TM. As distinct from the way any % runners do it, which is ignore about half the game, and ignore all the things intended to extend out the 40 floors of tower to a full, well-rounded adventure. So, I think the reason why this is the joke that launches a category is that this is a pretty good cross-section of that, a little tiny sliver that does all the things. You've got some decent tower climbs, and the best of any of the girls' tower climbs is Cheryl's. You've got some town stuff. You get to upgrade a building. And then you get to go in and out of the tower a couple of times before your big climb, which takes you almost 3/4 of the way up the tower. So you get to do a little bit of everything. And also, you get to have a stupid joke. And we are, in the Azure Dreams community, nothing if not fans of stupid jokes. So this really does have it all. We'll actually be seeing, ideally, 2 bookless races, maybe 3, or 2 curry % races. Maybe 3 if we have time. mean, because this is a nice little cross-section. Yes, in the JP version, it's rice, curry. In the translated version, it's sorry. The dialogue options are sorry, surrey, and curry. So, obviously, we are racing today to get to curry the fastest. That Gulf Wind will be a nice bit of money, as will that water orb. Ooh, and a recovery in weak ball. Shauny has... Yes, if they accidentally hit sorry, run is invalid, it does not count. The finish line is not completing Cheryl's story, it's telling her curry. That's the rules. Anyway, Shauny definitely has the money, I think, in his inventory right now. Now it's just a matter of finding a wind crystal. Because, the game does not give you a way out of the tower the first time. It expects you to die. Or rely on luck. One of the two. Ooh, and John Phoenix died. That is unfortunate. Because I'm pretty sure he could not have picked up the money and now has lost his entire inventory. I would not be surprised to see him restart. But maybe he will just run up the tower and try it again. Yep, here he goes. He's trying a slightly different angle for the glitched entry because he didn't feel like picking up the pita fruit from his mother. Valid of him, really. Also, goodness, but there is quite a lot of money on that first entry. With Phoenix on his second entry, that will make a point where Crystal! This is what Shauny has been looking for. He gets to leave, he gets to sell off his inventory, he gets to build the hospital and really start the run. Oh, looks like Shauny is preparing to use Water Cune's strats when the time comes. Bandite is giving us the deep mom lore that she was presumably once a monster tamer herself. I did not actually know that. Delightful. And yet no one could advise about not having a unicorn. Ooh, and John Phoenix appears to be in a little bit of a death loop. With his items sold off, Shauny's gonna go upgrade the hospital, and then he's going to repeatedly die in the tower to make time pass. Right, we have handed him the money for the hospital. And that means that Shauny's going to talk to Mr. Isaac at the windmill because presumably he doesn't want his mom to keep talking about that. Sound sensible. Either way, here's hoping this run will be kinder to Phoenix than the last one. Yeah, Shauny has a sizable lead. John Phoenix needs to get out of this death loop. He's well situated for the tower, for his ultimate climb later, so now it's just time to repeatedly faceplant. A different sort of death loop, if you will. One that advances time in the town. Dad runs, yes. Going in and dying. Dad would be so proud of us. I say us. We're just sitting back and watching as poor Ko gets his face mauled in. Meanwhile, John Phoenix is being reminded of the sad truth. Ko is the weakest monster in the tower, and there's our girl of the day! Hey, and Chappie. Duppy, I think it was? Her cute little doll. Now that we have met her, she will never use that window again. Chappie is very cute. The sprite on that is really good. And Cheryl is, I've gotta say, my favorite. Because her storyline has all the things. But also because she's just very sweet and sympathetic, even when she is a little bit annoying to her mother. But sometimes you do that stuff. That is something that honestly kind of resonates with me as someone with a disability. Also, happy Disability Pride Month, everybody. It's nice that we're getting to see Cheryl for that, but with her chronic illness. It's lovely, nicely timed. John Phoenix is really not... Oh, using one Palumpa to kill off both of them. That was excellent, actually. But also, John Phoenix is in trouble if he can't get off this first floor. Ho really is the weakest monster in the tower. Either way, Shauny's next goal is to advance up through Cheryl's storyline until a very particular line of dialogue, or at least in the immediate term, until her mother has to go out of town for a little bit. Can we check in on her and make sure she's okay? Yeah. And once that happens, we'll get a nice little scene. And once that happens, we will learn more about her illness and how to cure it. And once that happens, when Cheryl says a particular line of dialogue, I'm happiest when I see you, then we will get to do the final tower climb, and Shauny will stop having Q beat him up. Yes, it is a really cool feature having that little progress bar. Also, John Phoenix has made it off the first floor! Yay! Sometimes this game can be really, really hard, you guys. Since most of our tournament formats involve one entry and you're done, or multiple entries until the time is up, you don't often see in these race formats just how rough the tower can be if luck goes the wrong way and you're just caught in an early game death loop. That cursed iron shield is worth a good bit of the money John Phoenix will need. So this is starting to look like it has some promise. The rest of his inventory is not worth a whole lot. I always like this scene. To summarize, Cheryl's mom is going out of town and needs you to check in on her every so often. But because Cheryl is frustrated with her own powerlessness, and probably a little bit anxious, she's kind of making it very difficult for everyone involved. Because it's the only thing she can do. It's a little bit sad. But now, to help divorce some of that feelings, we are going for a walk. Also, wow, John Phoenix might not break out of this death loop. That is such a monster train. Also, oops, meeting our rival and getting all worked up. Cheryl's core strength must be tremendous to withstand being carried like that directly over Ko's head. Ko is very strong. Ooh, the money wand. That is some good financing. Now John Phoenix just needs to get out of this pickle. Okay. Probably does sit-ups. Okay, that is, I believe, the dialogue that we were waiting on in particular to get the big tower climb started. Shauny has himself fully equipped, or at least as equipped as he can be without having done glitch skip. John Phoenix has some good weapons if he can hold on to them for when he has Kyun. Otherwise, he's in a bit of a pickle. He also really needs a way out of the tower. So, worth noting, while Ko does not keep his levels in between climbs, Kyun does, so Shauny does have the advantage of having a stronger Kyun on these early floors than John Phoenix will. Also, he is at an entirely different stage in the progress of the storyline. This is a commanding lead. It's going to take some real bad luck. To recap where we are at the moment in Shauny's progress, we have learned that there is a rare herb up in the tower. We're going to use it. We're going to go up and get it, and that will cure Cheryl's illness. And then we can tell her curry. There's a way out for John Phoenix. When he feels he's got the inventory for it, he can escape. And also, Shauny is aiming for a water strat that is his preferred strat with Kyun. It's safe, it's reliable, and he's got some solid EXP under Kyun. So he should be doing that not too far off in the future. Ooh, a wind crystal. That will actually come in pretty handy later, because after all, just getting to the healing herb is not sufficient. You have to leave with it. Also, it looks like John Phoenix is having a little bit more of a monster train. While he could leave, he doesn't quite have the inventory to make the most of it yet. So I think he's just going to block off that hallway and keep trying to find a way forward. And there, John Phoenix decides to get out while the getting's good. At least this way he has made some money. More money than he has made thus far. But yeah, looking at that inventory, you can see why he would have wanted to stay if at all possible. I'd probably keep a Scarlet Wand, but that's just me. Or a stream, depending on your preference in Kyun strats. So we'll be seeing another run on John Phoenix's side as Shauny continues up. I think this is his third entry? No, it's not his third entry. I actually did not keep a terribly good count. But he's on a number of entries. Actually, I think the fact that they have had such a different experience means that they will continue to have different experience. There isn't a whole lot of point in keeping track of which entry they are on. They will more or less always be out of sync. And the only climb that counts will be... Who is it? Yes, my brain was thinking of that as Max, but I don't think that's the case. You're right. Thank you. I was thinking of the max floor or number. But you are correct. Heck, thank you, Sand Knight. It's not normally a thing you think too much about. Oh, there we go. That explains it. We normally do a different form layout because of what's important. Being different. We don't care about the number of entries on normal matches. We're doing climb up the tower as far as you can, as fast as you can in one shot. So, we actually know that this particular climb on John Phoenix's, that the tower Shauny is on now, for his final climb, will actually be the next tower John Phoenix goes into. Ooh, go up track, that's pretty lucky. Not so lucky that I wouldn't have rather had an egg, but it is nice to be able to go a little bit faster to the only floor which counts. Shauny taking a minute to decide what to do. Does he want to tussle with this U-boat? You rarely want to tussle directly with a U-boat. Oh, that is a very nice find, especially given that we know Shauny is planning to go water strat. That will help him replace his firepower, his literal firepower. Which will be very handy. There are the entirety of the so-called wind floors between Shauny and floor 28. Oh, and John Phoenix goes down to a bomb trap. That's really unfortunate. So, he will actually go through this particular tower climb for a little bit, hoping to get some money. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, this is so rough on John Phoenix's side. The tower has found every cruelty, and the cruelties have compounded upon cruelties. Oops, he has accidentally entered the pool. This isn't a bookless run. We don't need to talk to Wada. John Phoenix, you don't have to convert this to another type of run. It's okay. That's good. I'm surprised we've never tried doing a pool percent. I guess it just doesn't have the advantage of Curry and Chappie and Cheryl and Curry. In terms of gear, here, Shauny does have that Scarlet Wand, which probably does allow him to feel pretty safe with a fire strat for a while, though we still know he's equipped and prepared here for a water strat when the time comes. Will be the same as the tower on Shauny's side, but John Phoenix's goals are very different. He's looking for getting money and getting out, so we probably won't see where Shauny is, even assuming everything goes perfectly for John Phoenix here. Things are not going perfectly for John Phoenix here, as the long delay of... Oh my goodness. Why is this happening to me? Displays. Or he might be taking... taking a break, but to me this is the long wait of... Oh, goodness. This is a fine kettle of fish. Yep. There goes the fine kettle of fish. This might be John Phoenix taking a little moment to get recentered. Dude, I will check and make sure that everything is going alright, except for the rough time he is having. Alright, Phoenix is taking a break and not gonna be trying to finish this match. Shauny will continue for being on the big climb. But John Phoenix has decided that, okay, it's been 5 entries. If this were not a race, I would have reset by now. And tried it again from the top when my equipment was good. That's the hard truth of Azure Dreams. Behind every impressive tournament race, behind every is a whole lot of practice that resets that end in some sort of tragic death spiral. That is the true heart of Azure Dreams. And it's why it's always going to be us against the tower, which pushes us into these sad, sad circumstances. There's that blue collar, which we have not seen needed to be collecting during the main tournament, because we don't need to collect it during the main tournament. Shauny, thinking about how he wants to approach... Ouch. That Kraken. Actually using a fire crystal. They do have their niche edge uses, I will concede. And this was definitely one of them, and he did it very right. He made sure that Kuhn would want to go to a safe place by controlling his camera angle, all that jazz. Hello, we are in the big climb on Shauny's side of a curry percent race, where he is trying to get to floor 28 so that he can get a healing herb for a sick girl, and then he can tell her curry. That's the goal. John Phoenix is sitting out the rest of this round as he just could not catch a break. And oh, that must be exciting. That could be a Garuda, which isn't as wildly hype as it is normally, but is still extremely hype. We see Shauny, even though he adds the Palumpa, going for water strats with Kuhn through the Sea Seed just to clear out a bit of inventory space quickly. Also, nice use of the Leo Lamb so that Kuhn can just immediately go into fighting Trim. Now, he'd probably really like to find a Stream Wand, but in the absence of such a thing, we might see him switch to the Paralyzed Wand if he finds that it's some way of confirming that it's not cursed. Or a decursed scroll in case it is cursed. And there's that Stream Wand! For once I am not a curse upon them. Looks like Shauny even picked up a quest item for a completely unrelated quest. He's got the Guru's Oils pod. And a lovely little item used to help Mr. Isaac, who your mother tells you about and won't let you leave alone. There are actually a few different quests that have you get things from the tower. There's the pool quest. Which involves a white picket on floor 25, which is so obnoxious. I hate that thing so much. Because sometimes it just won't spawn. There's nothing you can do about it. Yay. I love having nothing I can do. It is my— oh, that's not ideal. As I was about to say, I love having nothing I can do about something. It's my favorite. That's the picket that has his flame ball. Well, you can always tell when a picket has stolen something of yours, because it will not engage you. It wants to taunt you. It wants to come up close to you, and then leave. And then come up close to you, and then run away. Just so that you know. you know forever. Oops. That steel shield's not coming off. At least not in a hurry. It's still not a terrible shield, even if having the curse status effect is less than ideal. Shauny is checking whether or not which of those 2 coins is a Manoeva. Unfortunately, it is the one next to the fruit. By the way, if you want to learn more about this little category or anything in Azure Dreams, check out the community. We have a Discord. It has resources for all things Azure Dreams, not just speedrunning. As well as tomorrow's Grand Finals tournament match. That will be a best of 5, so you really don't want to miss that. Shauny is now on the last 9 floors before the one he needs. Well, I guess last 8 floors before the one he needs, but not last 9 floors including the ones he needs. 8. This is a place where the water strats help, because you've got, like, still the spiders, and you've got vipers, and no one likes vipers. But where having some firepower to back that up is really nice. That's a decent chunk of damage. Well, there's at least the decurse scroll, though without a cure-all herb, he's still gonna have the derpy face. The face of a cursed man that is hidden away in the game. John Phoenix is naming himself for the things he wants to manifest in the second race. Or not. Well, at least expressing the things he wants to manifest in the second race. A treasure loop is going to come in really handy on the healing herb floor. I think having to find something specific on a randomly generated floor with tough monsters would have honestly made a pretty decent, like, final boss battle if the final boss can be conceived of as an entire floor of the tower. Instead, we have Beldo, who we won't be even meeting in this run. So, sorry, Beldo. Your dreams of unlocking the blood seal that our father left on the ultimate egg are foiled by a cute girl. What you gonna do? You're going to eat monsters, we're gonna eat curry. Shauny is, I would say, now firmly at the part of the run where his decision to go water Cune is probably not ideal for him. He's having to take a lot of care and draw out these flame ball charges for as long as he can, because he's probably hoping he had some other backup item. He is unfortunately a little bit stuck having to deal with that poison trap. And yeah, medicinal herb is a good call, because stealth can end your run just by standing there. Or to be more exact, by sneaking up behind you invisibly and making your life difficult. And he is out of flame ball charges. He is now going to have to cut into other types of inventory, to deal with all of these wind monsters. It's not great. There's that elevator. He is getting really close to that healing herb floor and to the goal. Oh, bump trap did something. Yeah, there's that I'm assuming frustration, but maybe it's amusement, because I always think it's funny when the bump trap does something. Yep, and luckily the stealth wastes its action on going invisible, so that he can keep moving. Oh, a trap scroll, that's less than ideal. That does nothing to help him get through this next floor and through the next one. Just getting to the healing herb floor isn't good enough, though he does have the treasure loop to help with that. Okay, we are getting to the floor where, here's the thing about Azure Dreams. We've seen John Phoenix show one example of how it can all go horribly awry, but there's another way things can go horribly awry. Let's say you're Shauny. Let's say you hit floor 28, which he will as soon as he finds that elevator, unless something terrible happens. You want to find the healing herb that is only on floor 28. There's still a chance something terrible could happen, and everything falls apart in 2 seconds. For example, Umtrap could blow up the healing herb, or Shauny could hit a go-up trap somewhere on the floor and just get taken away. So now, Shauny's going to have to hope, be very careful, and hope some more that nothing bad happens to him ever on this floor. Okay, there are only a couple of places it could be. Elevator. That's not what we're here for today. This is... okay, so it's not in this room, which unfortunately he doesn't get out of without attracting at least a little bit of Naplessy attention. Yeah, he's missed the chance to do, like, some really safe AI ones, unless he wants to set himself up for that perfectly. Now, his water Cune does have an advantage against the Naplesses, but this is time he doesn't want to race. He knows he's won the race, or at least this round of the showcase, but there is still more to be done. So now he is just making it. There it is. Shauny is now officially paranoid. There it is. Okay. Hey, we have the healing herb. It's time to bounce. Disaster successfully averted. Yeah, he's selling just about everything. It doesn't matter. He is free. Now all we have to do is drop this off. Give them a little bit of time to do whatever it is that needs to be done with the healing herb to cure illnesses. Do medical science. One thing that's kind of neat is that there's actually two outcomes to Cheryl's storyline. We are choosing not to tell her that we were the ones that did this for her, to make it an anonymous gesture of goodwill. Both of these outcomes are fine, and they really take fairly similar amounts of time. For, say, a bookless percent. But they're a lot more different from a non-bookless, from a curry perspective, because only one of them lets you say curry, I think. Though now I'm not entirely sure. And now there is one final pitfall that might befall Shauny on this run. As discussed earlier, what if he accidentally says sorry? Or sorry? What if he fails at the final stumbling block to say curry? Now Mr. Isaac will never have his oil pot back. That's for making us think about it so often. John ended up in a tragic death loop that by, oh, say, entry number 5, he still had not made the 4K needed to start Cheryl's storyline. At which point he went, yeah, if this were a real Curry % run, I would have just restarted. Or did. So he is prepared for the next race. Because we are doing another one, as Shauny is now 80% of the way there. And all that is really required is to give time some time. Yep, Shauny decided to keep playing because he was on the last tower climb, which says something about just how rough John Phoenix's death loop got. It got so bad that Shauny had gone through not only the part John Phoenix was struggling on, but the next several sections of the race. Of our Curry % category. And just needed to do, and was on the last bit of real shit. Yep, she's going to say that for a couple of times. Luckily, you can increment her counter at least once or twice without having to go to the tower. Or maybe Shauny just forgot what step the plan he was on. Either or. Point is, now time for more dad runs. It's where he throws himself at the tower and the tower throws him out. Kyun must think this is very strange behavior, honestly. He regrets getting involved, even though he had no choice. Once Shauny gets... I could have given Shauny his point for this a while back, actually, now that I think about it. But it only seems fitting to do it when someone actually finishes. And we will set up for round 2. Daryl is now all better. And now she is going to become a nurse to help people, as she was helped. We have done a good deed. And she gets a new sprite, and it's really cute. Like, I feel like most of the girls have, frankly, bad portraits when they are in love with Ko. Furs is the worst. That is my solid opinion. And I will not be budged. But Cheryl's is great. Whether she's a nurse or whether she is making little dolls of you to sell out of her window. This is a fun feature that we don't see in the any percents, which is that when you complete a girl's storyline, she will come and see you in the morning. It's really nice. It's sometimes also a little weird, I'm gonna be honest. now Cheryl's learning that, we as in Cohen the doctor lied to her about this whole who actually brought the healing herb thing. And Curry! Race complete! Shawnee gets to point. And we will reset for round 2. And he's getting out the Guru's oil pot. Okay. GG, but we're not done yet. We will, presumably once Shawnee actually delivers the oil pot. I'd reset for race 2. Let us hope that it's a little bit kinder, or at least a little bit more even-handed. I think John Phoenix learned, or at least we had the chance to show off why sometimes glitched entry runs, while they are fast and offer some advantages, aren't always race safe. I will be right back. I need to get a drink. And I'm back. I hope that all of you are hydrating as well. Johnny will have a small bio break and we will get on to our second match. It'll be interesting to see if either of them changes their routing. What I've got to hydrate with is a little Arnold Palmer. That is half lemonade, half iced tea. Very refreshing. Only letting the attract mode play through. Or I guess the trailer? Intro? I'm not sure what you would call this bit. It's identical to the attract mode. But he has started the game, so, huh? Either way, it's the intro we don't normally see, and it is pretty neat. It's got a bop. Okay. We will get them counted down and they will be off, accounting for stream delay, etc. For those of you just joining in, this is Azure Dreams, a PlayStation 1 roguelike RPG. We have the tournament finals of our Rock Me to the Top Random Toolkit Tournament tomorrow. Be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. And check out our Discord for more. In the meanwhile, we have a special showcase. And I should make sure that John Phoenix actually saw the countdown. Given the unusual length of delay there. This is why I normally check. I normally check in and should have checked in given the length of this time. But I am just making sure. Or that he has in fact actually seen it. This is not a significant loss of time given that Shauny does have the tutorial to go through. But it is, and it will probably balance out on the whole. But it's good to make sure that he knows the run has actually started. Okay, there we go. No, he is off. It is a shame we can't even afford a 15G medicinal herb. But that's a problem for future us. Or at least that's a problem we're hoping to overcome and then never think about again. John Phoenix is going back for the glitched entry strat. And it has a solid chance of not going as badly this time. Let's just keep our fingers crossed. Because sometimes the tower is just mean. Sometimes it's mean and you can recover, etc. Oh, looks like he has changed course and is in fact doing the regular entry. I think just deciding that, you know what, let's be race safe here. I don't get the chance to reset if this goes really badly again. It could still go really badly having gotten Kuhn, but Kuhn is at least a little bit of insurance that even if it goes as bad as it can possibly get, he'll still have something to help him out on those early floors. This is the game's intended approach, that you probably end up starting off with nothing, and occasionally something helps you out. And you build your monsters instead of necessarily building yourself or even sometimes not getting to build your inventory. John Phoenix goes for some of these skips to some of these tutorial sections. One in particular is probably the best of a lot of them, so we'll see in just a second. Yeah, Mystery Dungeon. This is basically where we are. Good evening. Looks like we're not seeing any of the tutorial skips. Which, fair enough. They invite further tutorials. Okay, any of the tutorial skips that involve picking up an item and then putting it in your inventory in such a way that it eats up Kuhn's text boxes. Oh, we're not even seeing John Phoenix skip the poison trap tutorial, which is pretty easy and very fast. We are on round 2 of the curry percent races, where our goal is not to climb the tower, not to be the best that like no one ever was. It's to get enough money to revamp the hospital so we can meet a cute, chronically ill anime girl. The highest of goals. And then we shall cure her illness. This after some spending time with her and learning about her, etc. And then we shall lie to her about it. And we won't apologize, we will just say curry. That is curry percent. That is a little trap room there. I feel like I don't often see wild monsters getting caught in traps. At least, I feel like you see, for example, crack traps or upheaval traps. But I feel like you rarely see them hit, as the noise did on John Phoenix's side, a paralysis trap. That's more rare, I feel like. Weird. Not the type of crystal Shauny was hoping for. They are both at the game's painful lack of mercies right now in terms of what are we getting out if we make the money we need. And the tower's solution to that would be, well then I guess you don't make the money you need, I guess you just die, which is not very fair. Azure dreams, you are a cruel mistress, but here's hoping that they do find a solution to that. Even if they don't immediately use any wind crystal they might find, just having it means that they can make some progress. As towards their goal. while Shauny's inventory is looking pretty full, that wood shield is worth very little, and most of the fruits are chump change. It's not a terrible inventory for climbing, though could use some other features, but it doesn't quite have enough big money items. Though the Cursed Paralyzed wand will help. Ooh. There's that wind crystal. This at least means they are a little bit closer. They can actually leave with their treasure hauls if worst comes to worse. And it looks like Shauny has counted up and decided that this is enough to make that exit. And oh no, John Phoenix just hit a paralyzed trap. That could go bad. It looks like he'll be okay, but boy, was that a close one. That would be so mean. Because we know that on just the next floor is a wind crystal. It would suck to get caught in another death loop. Shauny, I think, accidentally missed the selling some items window. Which, I do it all the time, but it's kind of annoying. Shauny's going to the blacksmith shop to sell, because dealing with fur takes too long. Honestly. And it's not quite enough. For him to upgrade the hospital. He's just about 1,000 short. So now he's probably going to have to either sell off a few more things or take another entry in the tower. That just barely is enough. It doesn't leave him with anything left over for a future climb, so he more or less will just have Kuhn's levels to rely on, and anything he probably won't bother looking around for anything, because he might not really be able to keep it in the multiple entries he'll be doing in the next little while. Looks like John Phoenix is going to do a little bit more scouting. Given that we just saw Shauny have to sell basically everything to make up that shortfall, yeah, actually, I think that John Phoenix is setting himself up a little bit better here. Oh, that's not it. That's not what John Phoenix wants. Also, Shauny is not doing anything wrong. He is now just entering the tower and dying to pass the time. And this is called the dad run, because that is what happened to the player character's father, more or less. I mean, there was a light show involved, the desert rained, that sort of thing. But really, he entered, he made some very poor monster taming decisions. The cute little doll of the girl in the window. That doll is seriously very cute. By the standards of Spriteworks. Shauny will mostly be passing the time in the tower to get through further events on Cheryl's event train. The game intends you to slowly build your strength over time through multiple trips to the towers in between these events. You know, like they were actually passing time. But we're speedrunners. This is not about time. This is about this is not about having fun, but it's about having fun by going fast. We don't have time to, actually spend time and deal with the gameplay loop as intended, even when we're dealing with more of the gameplay loop as intended than we might normally be. Oh, Shauny forgot to pick up Kuhn after collapsing, and therefore had to get beat up by a Palumpa. Imagine. But anything can beat up Ko by himself. Ko by himself is not very strong. Looks like John Phoenix has decided his inventory looks good, but he is going to go sell it off and get rolling. I think it is... It's not terribly full of big money items, but there are at least a few little things. Things that should help. I actually do not know how much a restore scroll is worth, but about 400. Yeah, that's expected. Scrolls are never worth as much as they feel like they should be. Yep, that is pretty close to the money. It might actually make it. Get over that margin. Oh, John Phoenix is going to Fur's shop to sell off the rest of what he needs. Which at least leaves him with something. It leaves him with a wooden wand and a leather shield to start his final climb when the time comes. Meanwhile, Shauny has progressed through Cheryl's event chain to, once again, the bit where her mom has to go leave, which is setting up for the next couple of events. Hence, that will bring us to the point where Shauny's going to have to brave the tower with really nothing but Kuhn and a pita fruit to start off with. And that's where John Phoenix will pay off a little bit, having taken some more time in the tower itself the first time around, and at least started off with a good shield and a pretty decent weapon. Cheryl once again winning the award for her best planking abilities. That girl's spine must be made of iron. Which might be the cause of the chronic illness, now that I think about it. Shauny is just about to the happiest split. The split that gets the item we want to spawn in the tower. So now it's time for that final climb. Let's hope that Shauny doesn't have too rough a time of it, but enough of a rough time of it that John Phoenix can make up some time with a comparatively cushier start. Until Shauny finds some sort of weapon, Kyun is going to be his chief offense. Feds via AI1 and some careful position and manipulation of when enemies get to move versus when they get to attack. John Phoenix has gotten to meet Cheryl, and now we'll be running back and forth between Cheryl's house and the tower, pretty much. And unlike our last race, they will be on a similar count of entries. So John Phoenix will also have that lovely pillar ball and that lovely holy bell. But we'll probably get to feed that blue sand to his leather shield. Oof, that could have been better. Oh, and we'll be having that Scarlet Wand, which doesn't negate the advantage John Phoenix has in having that wooden wand. Oh well. Azure Dreams is sometimes a kind mistress. Honestly, Kyun is invaluable for this run, because he's the fastest way out of the tower. Which is the dumbest thing, but very funny. Sadly, Ghost was not nice enough to drop a wind crystal, but they are common enough that Shauny will probably find one some point before 428, right? Unless the game decides to get really weird on him. Which is possible. Let's see. Honestly, this is a very nice start to Shauny's climb. There's some good problem solvers. There's a great spell ball. Well, this is a comfortable beginning. And as he is leaving as he is starting to leave the early couple of floors where it's really safe to explore. They've sort of desynced, I think, that they have desynced their entries. I'm trying to figure out how that has happened. I think that John Phoenix might have entered the tower to progress time rather than going back to Cheryl's house and progress time. I think that is what happened. Because there are a couple of places where you can just keep going back in and out of the house and talking to her until you hit sort of the end of a chain of dialogues. Which means that John Phoenix will not be getting that Scarlet Wand. Or any of the items Shauny has. So we'll have to see what sort of climb John Phoenix's ultimate climb that he's preparing for now is. Another pillar ball! Goodness. It is a shame that John Phoenix is not doing it on this run. The other tower will have to be very generous in order for those two to be at generosity parity, which is unlikely. And you never know what the future has. The goal is something else. The goal is to complete the storyline of Cheryl, which involves doing all the things that John Phoenix is doing currently, letting her go for a walk, making things worse by letting her go for a walk, learning about the healing herb on floor 28, and then getting the floor 28 herb, bringing it down, lying to her about who it was who cured her so that she believes that it was a good Samaritan. And then when she learns about this and is both grateful and a tiny bit miffed about not being told, telling her curry instead of sorry. that is the goal of this match. It does provide a nice little prototype of the Azure Dreams core gameplay loop. If bookless is a little bit too long, and any percent a little bit too short for your particular flavor of what you like out of Azure Dreams, check out our Discord and try Curry percent. And it is a tiny, it is Azure Dreams in perfect miniature. You have to get the hospital upgrade done to progress her stuff. So the first stage of both of their adventures was getting the 4K necessary, and they cut it pretty fine on their first trip. And are now both making their final climb. To go get that healing herb. John Phoenix has a little nicer starting gear, but they are on different tower entries, so what they find along the way will be different, and Shauny has found plenty enough to make up for that initial gap of like a wooden wand and a leather shield. His inventory is very nice right now. Oh, he has all the wands he could ever use for whatever strategic approach. He has a lot of pillar balls. I would call this a very good inventory to go to 28 with. Ooh, a holy bell, and that sleep ball is very nice, and a restore scroll. This is the second restore scroll we have seen in this race, actually. John Phoenix brought home another one that he found a little bit higher in the tower than Shauny went, but wasn't able to keep it because he was just shy of money. So, it is nice that he found another one in case something happens to Kuhn. Egg. We'll most likely be seeing that egg as an egg bomb. Or maybe as Kuhn food, or maybe as fusion fodder, though I doubt it. But it's a nice little something to have, and holy bells are so nice to have. The tower is being really nice with them right now. On both sides. Yeah, this game moves quickly enough that it's actually pretty hard to judge that, number one, it is a turn-based game, and can be played quite methodically. At this point, eggs are basically good. You can, for getting up the tower further, you can throw them at an enemy. You can, and it will deal a strong attack, usually. Unless the monster does something else, or the game gets a little bit weird about things. Both of which have the potential to happen at any time, unfortunately. Yeah. Or they can be fed to your monster for a nice MP boost. They're basically like pita fruit plus some extra features. Really nice. We are past the point where they need money. Actually, you can see the little progress bars they have towards their goal of saying curry. Courtesy of our state display, which is a lovely tool made by Chai of the Discord. It is tracking their progress on a number of fronts. Yeah. Normally, you would save them to get all mons if you were playing 100%, which most people don't do, or if you were playing casually. But at this point, they've gotten all the money they need. They've done very nearly all the town stuff. There's just like a couple of dialogue scenes after curing Cheryl to get through. So it's really all about who can make this climb the fastest. This is John Phoenix's best chance to catch up. Because there is a lot of room for things to change up during the tower climb portion. It is a very random game, and both of them are great runners who can make the most of whatever is thrown at them. Well, specifically, they are playing on the same seed. They are playing a fixed seed run, which means that they have the same towers if they are on the same entry. So their first tower was the same. Their second, in terms of items and monsters, their second tower was the same. Their third tower was the same. But because John Phoenix entered the tower once more before his final climb, this is a feature of our lovely de-randomizing randomizer. In vanilla, it is impossible to predict to have a fixed seed or to have a matching seed at any time. It pulls up a new random generation for what the next floor you see will be every frame. So it is basically impossible to get them matching. Which is why the first stage of building a randomizer for Azure Dreams was building a de-randomizer for Azure Dreams, which we are using here. It's very neat. I would absolutely recommend checking out our Discord for more details. It has a lot of features that we're not seeing here. This is otherwise a perfectly ordinary curry percent run. And with the added bonus of the state display, which isn't giving them anything, it's just showing us and the runners how far along they are and what they have. Excellent! We would love to have them. This is a community for all things Azure Dreams, not just speedrunners. And we're always happy to have more people who have heard of this little game. Or who haven't heard of this little game, saw this and thought, oh, this looks really neat. Inventory-wise, it's been a while since I've had an update between explaining what we are doing here. Shauny's inventory is a thing of beauty and a joy. Goodness gracious. I wouldn't call John Phoenix's inventory bad. Yes, we do. We do have a section for the GBC game. I believe it also has a randomizer / de-randomizer. That is a thing I haven't looked into as much, but we do have a section if that is your jam. John Phoenix's inventory is less stacked, but not bad. There are a few more useful things he could have, but it's pretty good. Good, and there is still a chance for him to make up some time. Okay, he learns that Streamwand is cursed. It is not his ideal situation there. Shauny does normally like a Water Cune strat if given the option, but I think with a Cursed Wand, that status effect would not be quite what he wants. And even if he does have the Pillar Balls to compensate for losing literal firepower. Ooh. Say that the star glasses John Phoenix just picked up in his run are about the only thing Shauny could want. And at this point. And because it'll be nice to be able to beeline 4 item rooms again once he reaches floor 28. John Phoenix got a little bit hung up on the elevation difference. Always read your mini-map, folks. The mini-map is your friend and will help you. Your eyes will lie to you, but the mini-map will always tell you the real truth. It is your one true friend. That is some good fortune in that I think one of the things Shauny would want least right now is for any piece of that inventory to go away. It is honestly beautiful. The minimap can identify Mana Weavas if you leave the room, Hex. It actually can do that, provided you step out of the room the Mana Weava is in. Then the blue light will vanish. Unless we're talking about Mana Weavas that have transformed into a monster, then no, it won't do that. It will tell you that a monster is there, but it can't tell you what kind of monster is there anyway, so, you know. I guess it can't identify stealth. That's the one way in which it will not be perfectly truthful with you all the time. But on the other hand, your eyes also won't tell you about stealth, so, you know. Minimap is your only friend, and you are undone without it. I know a lot of people like to zoom out on it for when they're running to see more of the floor, but its use in terms of making sure you're actually lined up with your enemy and not, say, attacking something else makes it really more valuable to not zoom out. But you can always adjust as you go if you need to. Hopefully for Shauny, this doesn't go terribly, 'cause it could at this juncture. Okay. Paralyzed traps are always a little bit scary. They're maintaining pace with each other, or I would say, in terms that the lead is about staying the same size, which is not great if Shauny wants to make up the point, but this is just a showcase. Okay, so it's pretty reasonable. And I think we'll see both of them finish the category in the second race. Regardless. Let's see. Checking in a little bit on John Phoenix's inventory, I would say it's still not great. It's got some very nice features. He's absolutely And okay, that was perhaps the least useful thing. Fire crystals run out of usefulness as you go up the tower. Where they're not completely useless, though some would argue they might be. But the stats of the monster that is produced by it, which you can't control anyway and won't stick by you anyway, are fixed. So the higher up you go, the worse it gets in comparison. And Aleem is probably better in all cases. Oops, that could be really bad for John Phoenix. It might be okay. They are a good distance away. This is less than ideal. And there goes Kuhn. He does have a restore scroll, so that is at least a thing he can recover from. But the restore scroll you haven't used yet is the best restore scroll. Oops. Did not quite make it past that Newell without having to take a couple of hits and hopefully not have that happen. He probably wouldn't want to. Let's see what's in that egg. It is a noise. You know, that's actually very pretty. I don't think I've ever really looked at a noise you yourself own, and therefore at their wind color palette when they're not wild monsters, and oh, that is just unlucky. But reasonably likely. Oof. This is a bad spot John Phoenix has walked into in taking that hit. John Phoenix has made it now pretty impossible to succeed. I don't think there's anything he can do. Except Wind Crystal out, but even that is losing so much time. He can win. It is losing a lot of time and cannot feel good. But it happens sometimes. Azure Dreams is an unfair mistress. He's not entirely out of the woods yet, but he's... or at least, he's not entirely out of the game yet, but something real bad has to happen to Shauny real soon. For him to have a hope. Specifically, Shauny has to die, or he's saving that trap loop so that nothing can happen to that healing herb and nothing can take him away from it if he gets there and if he finds it. So, what John Phoenix has to hope for is that Shauny dies, or at least has to wind out himself, somewhere between 23 and 28. And he's in a real good spot. That inventory is really good. But as we did see, sometimes good inventory does not prevail you. This is a little bit of an unpleasant start, but at least throwing that egg at the Viper gets it to go somewhere else and lose all track of Shauny. I love when someone can do a good Viper egg manipulation thing. It's one of my favorites. I love anything that uses the fact that this game has a lot of weird little edge corners that you don't often think about playing casually. Shauny is now just a couple of floors away, and he's well prepared for these wind floors. Unlike last time when he was using a water Coon, here he's got the element that can carry him pretty much the rest of the way without too much problem, unless something goes horribly awry. See, the one thing that can detect invisible stealths is your monster on AI1, which knows unerringly where everything is, for some reason. I don't think Shauny would appreciate it if I said, Coon, you are also my only friend. You in the mini-map. But Coon is pretty invaluable, if only for his ability to kill you very quickly when you need to enter and re-enter the tower fast. Shauny has been really free with Coon's actual spellcasting, which isn't bad. But is something I haven't seen him use nearly as much before. I wonder if some of that is the effectiveness of just knowing that he does not have to get Coon all the way up the tower, or even most of the way up the tower. That Coon will have done his job perfectly, even if he only makes it, like, 2 or 3 more floors. Okay, 2 more floors before the herb hunt begins. Zoos are something that Shauny, and I would say most runners should take pretty seriously. While they're not terribly formidable as direct opponents, they do pack a decent punch and can mess up your AI strats and paralyze you. Okay, it is now time for Shauny's egg hunt. That trap loop is getting used. Those star glasses are getting... Oh, it's a treasure loop. Oh, he also has a trap loop. I don't think I noticed the treasure loop earlier. Yeah, he is just using everything in his possession to figure out where is it safe to go and what is it safe to do there. Oh, this could be it. There we go. Healing herb get. Shauny is leaving. There is pretty much no stopping him now. Now he is officially out of the woods, and it's except for one thing. One thing. You may have noticed that this is curry %, not Cheryl %. And if Shauny does not select curry, the run is invalid, because it's funnier that way. I doubt it will happen. It didn't happen last time, and I don't think anyone would want to count on that even in a showcase race. But there is the one chance for error. Which is just funny, really. Yeah, it's not Starry %. It's not Surrey %. And it's not Cerie Fields percent, which would be making it very nearly to the end and then getting kneecapped by something really stupid happening. Stupid and unfair. Sorry percent would technically be faster. If you're a coward. I'm not even sure why cowardice would enter into it, honestly. Maybe better to say, if you're a joyless monster. Which, cowards are pretty sorry. That is a good point. Just a troll egg on Phoenix's side. A U-boat could be very useful for him. Now that Cheryl is cured, it's now mostly just talking to her over and over again, and passing the time between talking to hers, so that we can advance her storyline, for her to finish her recovery and decide what to do next with her life. Shauny is from Canada. He would be sorry, but I think he'd rather be Curry. No news on if he'd want to be Surrey. No one ever wants to be Surrey. So let's see. Inventory check on John Phoenix's side while Shauny is doing all of his talking to Cheryl. It's not really much improved since the last time I looked. There's now a lot more pointless weapons. But honestly, entry number 7 is not a terribly good or generous entry. That's rough. Maybe it'll turn around if John Phoenix chooses to continue when Shauny's done. Which I think we would let him do. It's much more satisfying if they both finish it, unless things do not improve and things go horribly wrong and it just becomes a long slog, which is still an option. That's still a thing that could happen if the tower says no hard enough. Azure Dreams is rough like that. And it's been rough like that, especially for John today. Okay, that's a nice little find. Won't get him out of situations, but will help him go fast. Cheryl is in fact recovered, and now is thinking about what her life should be now that she's recovered and has been saved by a mysterious benefactor, a good Samaritan. Us. So she's gonna be a nurse. She gets a new outfit for it. It's very cute. which means the stage is almost all set. He just needs to pass time one more time. One last dad run for the road for Shauny. And down he goes. There's Cheryl come to wake him up. It's very cute. Admittedly, it can get really obnoxious, particularly when you've cleared a lot of girls' storylines and then you're suddenly in a harem anime for a couple of minutes. And now we are at the final dialogue scene of the run. And there it is! Curry percent! Complete! We have told her curry instead of apologizing. Shauny wins game 2. I wonder if I can maybe... Oh, and it looks like Shauny is celebrating his victory with some more curry. And yeah, this is a double PB, I think. Good for him. He has improved his personal best twice across the span of this race. And also you get to stand on people's food. It's an important feature of video games. Yes. Yeah, Sonny, quit stepping on people's hearts. Okay, it looks like we are about to wrap up here. This has been a rough one for John Phoenix. We will get them probably both in for an interview. This just did not go his way. Hey, but he did fight very valiantly, I will say, and did a very great job with the tower just not giving him a break. And this will about match up the racing portion. Tower was significantly more rude to John Phoenix. things this time around. So he won't be joining us for an interview, but let's give him a round of applause and thank him very much for the excellent running in the face of everything the tower could do.
Hello.
Hello! Good job! You lowered your personal best twice tonight.
Yeah. Oh, I refused to actually get a PB because I threw a Garuda egg and I messed up so bad that I don't ever want to change that PB. But technically, yes.
Technically.
I can actually get chat open now. How lovely.
Yes. Yes. Chat, if you have any questions for Shauny about the running, let us know. This was the first race in particular was an interesting study of contrast.
So did he do glitch entry?
He did glitched entry,
Yeah.
and it got him caught in a death loop. Where
Yeah.
there was just no finding his footing.
Yeah, the thing is, after I entered with the proper, entrance, and I barely scraped out a few things, I'm like, yeah, if he glitched entry, like, I have an advantage. If he didn't, I probably spent too much time on those floors. So
yeah, that first tower was a bit mean for that first entry.
It was. I'm honestly surprised it went as well as it did because I had no firepower, no nothing, just grit. Really?
Yeah. Sometimes that is just enough. Your final climb on that second race, that tower was so generous.
Well, I'm glad it was because I had $3 to spare.
Yep.
I was doing the math in my head, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I looked at the thing. I'm like, that's great. I have 2 cursed items. I forgot to deduct the 10% drop, and I had to sell all my equipment. So I'm really glad it was a nice tower in the end because I didn't have much.
Yeah, John did a little bit better on that front, but he did take a bit of extra time, both because I did not do my due diligence and make sure he was ready to go when the countdown started.
Yeah, that's
also
fine,
because I think he took an extra entry he didn't need to at some point.
Yeah, I can. I don't know if you have it over on your side. Did Chai send you the what's it called?
Yes, the tools. Yeah. I do not have that up, but I'm not even sure where he made that extra tower entry, but there was a point where clearly where the thing to do was to keep going back into Cheryl's house, who said he went to the tower instead, and so he did not get that or rather, he was using his, I think that was your 6th entry?
Something like that, yeah. I was actually using Chai's notes because, honestly, there's a couple times where it's like, hey, you can go right back and talk to her. So I'm like, oh, neat.
Yep. Yeah,
I do know that off the top of my head, but it was really nice to check. And on stream, it will have, there you go. Oh, it's all blurred. Whatever.
Yeah, it's a little bit too small to see clearly.
Yeah, but here's all the steps. They're categorized. It shows how long each one took. It's absolutely great. So again, Chai made a wonderful tool, and it's not quite there yet. So it's not like an official release for everyone. But at the same time, like, it is extremely easy to follow along. And I was mostly using it just to make sure I didn't go to floor 29.
Yeah.
Because I've done that in a couple runs before where it's like, okay, cool, and I'm clearing the tower.
Nope, that's not the name of the game.
Yeah.
The doodle.
Yeah, and the thing is, thankfully on the floor 28, I had a trap loop, I had a treasure loop, and star glasses. I didn't realize I didn't need to use the treasure loop. But, yeah, it was honestly nice. I'm glad. I'm still glad I'm able to compete with the best of them. Because I've been so busy, I haven't actually had time to practice other than this practice of controls today. So I'll take that as just sub hour 1. So I'll take that.
It is very, very nice, and I am it was some very impressive running. In John's case, things kept happening. He ended up having to leave what was going to be his climb because he just didn't have the inventory to get out of a couple of tough spots back to back.
Yeah, and I do get that. That sucks, obviously.
That happens.
And yeah, that's also just the tower.
Azure Dreams, there are a lot of times when you wish you could reset, but it's a race.
Yeah, and I saw this message the first time. I'm like, oh, it was like we reset to C2. I'm like, no, I'm on a decent pace. I want to finish. Because I'm like, no, this is the showcase, obviously, and it's all for fun. And big thanks to John for, running on very short notice. I've been organizing this in the back. And Chai, while preparing for tomorrow's, grand final match, was still able to help finish and polish off this new thing for us, so we could be able to show a little progress bar in both ways. I put them both on, so you can either have a percentage or you can have a task one, whichever one you prefer. But hopefully made commentating quite easier for you. So
that was a bit easier. Also, that what one is doing sort of changes a lot based on where you are roughly in the progress.
Yeah, and the one thing that actually I have to admit, I didn't realize on the the tracker, obtain healing herb, like the final climb is what you're supposed to do. And then each floor is its own task. I didn't realize he did that. I thought it was just like, get healing herb, leave. But like, I was testing this earlier today, if you go to floor 5 and die, it keeps floor 5 marked still. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So, but according to the in-game timer, because actually the state display tracks the in-game time for Azure Dreams, I finished at 1 hour and 50 seconds or so. The in-game time is 56:35. So, yeah, it's like that's if you go by in-game time, and it's also odd. She's technically not my girlfriend yet. You have to go one more day.
Yeah. Well, it's not Cheryl %, it's Curry %.
Yep. We just had to confuse the lady by saying curry to her face. Started off as a dumb meme.
Instead of apologizing.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Do you want curry? What? But honestly, I'm just happy it went well. I was really worried I was gonna just die on floor 5 and have to redo everything. But.
Yep. That is sometimes how the cookie crumbles in Azure Dreams. It's a very random game. Tune in for some extra random gameplay tomorrow here at 1 p.m. Eastern. Yes,
it's the grand finals.
Yep, that will be a best of 5 match. Very hyped for that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot.
Both our runners a follow as well. Oh, if you feel like it.
Yeah. The absolute GOAT commentator, Lady Deme, who steps up every single time. And I am so appreciative of you. You've made our lives so much easier.
Oh, thank you.
So, but yeah, no, that's all I have to say on my end. I have to go deal with you now. So.
Thank you, Shauny. Thank you, John, if you're watching this back. And thank you to the folks at SpeedGaming. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.